The Philippines is an archipelagic country. It consists of thousands of islands with more than 100 languages and millions of populations. Definitely, it's easier to say that Filipinos have many differences, but as one in this contemporary world, it is possible to its people to embody what being a Filipino truly is. According to the World Trade in 2021, the Philippines is considered as one of the countries worldwide with the most dynamic economies in the region of East Asia Pacific. From 2010 to 2019, the country received an annual growth of 6.4% after having only 4.5% from 2000 to 2009. Probably, the increase of the gross domestic product or the GDP of the Philippines was pushed by the increasing urbanization, vibrant labor market, robust remittances, and the growing middle class in the country. Additionally, a decrease in the poverty line was also seen, which from 23.3% in 2015, it went down to 16.6% in 2018. However, in 2020, when the country was preparing for total development pushed by the Build, Build, Build program and other notable economic programs of the administration, the current President Rodrigo Duterte, the 2019 coronavirus disease or the COVID-19 pandemic had happened. Affecting the entire world, it is easy to say that the Philippines was not the only country greatly affected by the virus. The first case in the country was recorded as early as January 25, 2021. Together with other 29 PUIs or patients under investigation, it is expected that the Philippine government must have quickly closed its borders and heightened its restriction. But its urgent responses were perceived to be lacking. It was criticized globally through the description of an incompetent response by the Straits Times, Amnesty International, and other local news agencies. Robert Sanz said in 2020 that the Philippines uses the same tactics that the President Rodrigo Duterte uses in his drug war. This has given birth to other controversies about the country's COVID-19 response, where a health concern is not solved through a medical approach, but rather through military approach.
Of the COVID-19 cases held us back from living our normal life. So lockdowns were being implemented in every parts of the Philippines wherein it was being mandated by the militaries. So they may be seen at every checkpoint wearing their uniforms and fully armed with a heavy caliber weapon. So Rodrigo Duterte, our beloved president, has once again used a military solution in solving an issue which unfortunately is ineffective once more. So back in 2017, when he used the same approach during the drug war, wherein he gave the superiority to the militaries and police over the civilians, resulting into several controversies regarding human rights. So in this time, he was once again giving it to the troops, stating, "Shoot them dead," in reference to anyone who will disobey the lockdown orders. So what if, instead of instilling fear and anxiety to people, Duterte and his team should focus more on giving solutions that may aid in combating COVID-19? Also, our healthcare professional expressed their dissatisfaction regarding Duterte's approach. So they stated that Duterte and his team should focus more on closing the gap in the treatment approach, like increasing COVID-19 testing kits, effective contact tracing measure, hiring more healthcare professionals, additional PPEs, and also early release of the test results.
Funds were given to military rather than medical people. Reports of exploitation of COVID-19 funding have surfaced in the Philippines, eliciting outrage among healthcare professionals who demonstrated in the Philippines especially to seek the release of underpaid benefits as the country faces another rise in case owing to the Delta variation. According to the audit assessment, the Health Department allegedly refused to disperse billions of pesos in money allocated for the healthcare employees. Throughout a congressional hearing, Duque revealed that there is no extra cash for special risk allowance for healthcare employees in 2022. He also stated that there is no certain allocation for the procurement of vaccination next year because the funds would be supplied by external debt and the availability of country government income, both of which are currently uncertain.
In line with this, Focusing on the implementation of the military approach is such a waste of time. Cases are still rising every now and then. People are enduring hunger due to the loss of jobs and businesses. Students have not yet returned to school, while hospitals are full of infected patients and there's also a shortage of staffs and equipments. So, what can the police do in this kind of health pandemic? Why does, in every crisis that the Philippines faces, Rodrigo Duterte always emphasizes the necessity of enforcement and always put his military men in the picture where in fact they are not merely needed?
This whole dilemma being discussed was highlighted in Module 2, wherein it pinpointed Duterte's way of governing the country. Rodrigo Duterte has a reputation for implementing plans or laws that are contrary to the aspiration of the people, and he wants the legislation to be enforced by the soldier and police.
So in conclusion, Duterte's approach to the COVID-19 pandemic over the past years have given a huge controversy affecting the medical health workers who are in the front line and taking care of the COVID-19 patients. So Duterte was not able to prioritize the workers in our country. Rather, he chose to give additional funds to the military rather than the medical professionals who are handling the crisis that is necessary in the current situation to prevent further complications of the country. So the problem is still focused on why Duterte chooses to comply with unnecessary countermeasures, meaning the military, when they are not even needed at most at this time. So what will be the future of this country? Do most people agree that our current president should be replaced by someone even better, or someone who will care about the people of the nation rather than implementing foolish orders?
In a health crisis, one would expect health specialists, scientists, and physicians to be prominent. But under President Duterte, the military has been used for even civilian activities. Deploying the military may be helpful but not always and should not be the focus, especially since health is our problem. In addition, the funds should be given to the medical healthcare workers what they are deserved. No wonder Filipino healthcare workers and even other Filipino workers want to go abroad, and indeed they can provide money to their families. Our group advises that prioritization and its functions are essential steps before implementing something. Significantly, the nation's community will be affected. Therefore, it is necessary for the upcoming elections to vote wisely, and also before voting, it is better to thoroughly check every politician who will run for the presidential position. A genuinely deserving president is the one who knows how to prioritize and not just because they act or decide what they want.